Then second one is justice reviews the number of applicable principles and selects the appropriate one. Number three is he applies the appropriate principle to the facts. This is the common thing. Before international judicial system is following this process of due process of law. Before pronouncing ruling or judgment, justice set out the facts agreed or set out the facts proved. Facts proved. Second step, he reviews the number of applicable principles and selects the appropriate ones. It is a legal principle. Then third step is he applies the appropriate legal principle to that facts. This is the common due process of law. A president does not bind a court if it finds there was a lack of care in the original decision or judgment in per inquiry. Now we come to the legal research methodological analysis. In precedent, already one cause of action is decided. It is given based on legal principle. That should not be overruled. But if the president does not bind a court, if it finds there was a lack of care in the original decision or judgment in per inquiry. For example, if a statutory provision or precedent had not been brought to the previous court's attention before its decision, the precedent would not be binding. Also, if a court finds a material difference between cases, then it can choose not to be bound by the precedent. There are two ingredients for the origin and insertion, inertia for precedent, doctrine of precedent or doctrine of strategies. The first one is if a statutory provision or precedent, previous judgment had not been brought to the previous court's attention before its decision. In that kind of cases, the successors can overrule that. That is called as a precedent judgments. Next ingredient is if a court finds a material difference between cases. Already well settled judgments are well settled based on this due process of law and legal principles. But if a court finds material difference between cases, then it can choose not to be bound by the precedent. Predecessor's judgment can be overruled if the successors in judicial system finds a material difference between the cases. This should be international judicial administration system to render justice. These two ingredients should be considered as an evolution of legal research methodology. Next, I go to say the inversion test. Before a president, justices before rendering or overruling the previous judgment, it is then setting a precedent when there is no crystal clear act or grand norm or land law or any due process or any customs, then the responsibility and accountability to the judicial system and justices to render new legal principle or solution. That is called as a precedent. To find out whether in this case we should render a already decisions taken based on legal principle, if that is called as a ruling. If the fact of the case is new and question of law and question of fact is unique and peculiar, if the emerging judicial system needs to find out the new solution, at that time the inversion test and Goodhart test will applied to frame the judicial precedent for following other further future generation or further cases. Now we are going to say inversion test. The steps involving. First step in inversion test, frame carefully the proposed principle. Second one is invert a word or phrase which reverses the meaning of the principle. Third one step is, let us consider the following question. If the court had the new proposition in mind when reaching its decision and had accepted it as a good law, could the court have reached the same decision? Fourth step is if the answer to the question is yes, then proposition cannot be the correct principle. Once again, I understand, sir, when we should pass a precedents, during which scenarios we should apply the legal research methodological test. That one of the, this is called as the tools of study. We are finding a problem, that is called as a problem finding for the aggrieved to get the solution. That problem is not render solution, that all principles of previous comes under the null hypothesis. If you are finding a specific problem and finding a specific solution for that, it comes under our hypothesis. To establish our hypothesis as a